everybody. Welcome back to episode 3 of the Behind the Stripes podcast. My name is Rama, Peroo, joined once again by Tiger Athletic Hall of Famer and two-time JUCO World Series champion Dave Burroughs. Coach, great to have you with us again.
Good to be here.
And we're very happy to have today's guest, Donnie Jackson, head men's basketball coach at Cowley College. Coach, thank you very much for joining us as today's guest.
Well, I always appreciate spending time with you two guys.
That's always fun. And
Thanks for having me.
Well, we're very glad to have you. Just to let you know a little bit more about Coach Jackson, obviously no stranger to Cali athletics, as he spent 8 seasons as an assistant coach at the school before returning as the team's head coach 5 seasons ago. Some of the accomplishments Coach Jackson's had, the list goes on, but here at Cali over the last couple seasons, they've won 58 games, captured last season's conference and region titles, and qualified for the national tournament in back-to-back years for the first time in program's history. So, Coach, just tremendous things you've accomplished with the program. This year, you've had your team in the top 25 most of the season already this year. Just one game out of first. We'll get to more about what's going on with you and this year's team. But first off, I know you have an interesting kind of a background and how you got into coaching and how you've led up to this point in your life. Coach, can you tell us a little bit about your life growing up, where you were born and raised, and tell us a little bit about you when you were a youngster?
Well, I was born in Iola, Kansas, down there in southeast Kansas, and was, in a couple foster homes and bounced around house to house between my mom and my dad, even when I got out of foster care, and ended up in Topeka, Kansas in 7th grade, and attended Jardine Middle School and Highland Park High School. Unfortunately, I took the road less traveled. It took me 5 years to graduate high school. Didn't always make the best decisions. Had a 1.1 GPA at one point, and fortunately, Mr. Dale Cushenberry, the principal at the time, I don't know what he saw in me. I don't know what anyone saw in me, but I'd kind of gotten a little spiff at school, and he's ready to send me on my way. And I had just read an article about second chances that he was interviewed for, and I kind of used that as my last ditch effort to be able to stay at school. I mean, granted, it was my 5th year, and I don't know why anyone would want to put up with me either. And he kind of looked at me and said, "You know what? I'll give you another chance if you meet things on my terms." And a couple of the terms were he got me a job at Food for Less, or helped me get a job at Food for Less, put in word for me, and I had to work a full-time job, and he got me a bus pass, and I had to start riding the bus to school. Couldn't miss any more school. I had to get a 3.5 GPA, and it seemed like it was going to be a tall task, but at the end of it, he said, "If you do that, I'll let you play in the City All-Star game." Now, granted, I had never played high school ball. Always played street ball.
Wow.
And I looked at that as that's my way out. And so I did everything in my power, like, hey, man, if that's really what it is, I'm all in. And I did do it. And I did get to play in the City All-Star game. And I had 19 points. And I had a scholarship offer from Brett Tanner, who's actually the head coach at Abilene Christian now. But he was at Fort Scott. And then I had a walk-on opportunity at Allen. And I chose Allen County because that's, Iola.
Yeah.
And my grandmother lived there, and it saved on some housing and things like that. But that's kind of how I got my foot in the door to play college basketball. And, it wasn't fun walking on my first year, but I did get a scholarship after my first year. I only played 10 games and 33 minutes my entire freshman season. And so that's where I feel like I have a unique feel for everybody on the team, because, I did start at the bottom, and there'd be days I'm in the gym and, I'm shooting hoops just almost in tears, like, how can I get my chance? Because you get a little taste of it,
Right.
but I can completely understand now that I'm a head coach on why I didn't get that opportunity at the beginning. I mean, shoot, I had never played. And actually, Coach wanted to redshirt me. Coach Hayes wanted to redshirt me. And I was being hard-headed because I just wanted to be a part of a team. You go from playing street ball, now you got a chance. I was doing decent, And he was like, I think it'd be best if you redshirt. And I was like, well, I'd really like to play. And, you know, always at the beginning of the season, everybody gets a few minutes here or there at the beginning. And then reality hit that I'm not in the rotation. And always do second guess. And I tell kids that even when I have guys I feel like I might want a red shirt, and I tell them my story because in retrospect, by the time I was a senior, I ended up being a NAI All-American.
Wow.
And so if I had one more year, but you know that's neither here nor there. But that's kind of the journey, how I got started in basketball, and then you know I was able to play for Coach DeSalm my senior year, and fortunately he kept me on. He liked me enough to give me my chance as a student coach my first year.
Terrific. You know, Coach, your background, obviously, I mean, it wasn't a fairy tale coming up. You had to work very hard to get where you got to. Is there anybody, though, you mentioned the principal and some people, were there some individuals that you really look back on that helped you get to where you were at, or just by your pure, you know, determination and hard work, what led you to be able to, you know, get through some challenging times as a young person to be able to, you know, get to the collegiate level?
I definitely have to give credit to Dale Cushenberry. You know, there's a lot of kids. His tagline was, "It's great to be a Scot." And there's a lot of kids at Highland Park now that we've gotten older that have been inducted into the Hall of Fame, or some of the older guys that grew up in his culture. And he's still around and uses the same tagline up there. But when I see guys say it's great to be a Scot, it has a lot of meaning. Going through the hallways of Highland Park, but Ken Darting's one of them as well. He's a Hall of Fame coach, won several state titles at Highland Park, and he's now coaching at Shawnee Heights. But he let me play on his summer team the year before my senior year, and you know that kind of gave me a little bit of hope that hey, somebody believes in me. And so he always encouraged me to get my stuff together and things like that. But those are the two in my high school journey. And like I said before, why they had a special interest in me, I don't know. But I also remember, you know, when Mike Brinsko was the coach there, it was that last year, and it was when you had to face the music of cuts when you see your name on the wall. And you remember those days when you go up and see who made the team, and that was pretty humbling to see my name off that list every year. And but that also was a lot of drive because I wanted it more than anything, and it took several years to be able to prove that through college, where you just work your way up. You know, freshman year walking on, second year getting a scholarship, starting a few games toward the end of it, junior year in and out of as a starter, playing for Mick Wilson at Sterling, and then senior year, you know, end up playing my best ball the second half of the year when Coach moved me from a guard to a post player. Coach DeSalm, and took off and averaged almost 20 points a game that second semester. And I don't know, everything just clicked, and end up being player of the week 3 straight weeks. End up, like I said, being first team all KCAC, and then as an honorable mention All-American. I think about the journey of it taking basically, you know, from freshman year to senior year in college. That's 9 years of trying to get to a certain point. And I think my college journey has been that same way as a coach, where I'm an assistant for 11 years, and you know, just you know, it took 9 years for a real opportunity kind of start taking place, starting to get interviews and things like that, and just finding the right niche, and then it taking 8 years at NOC Tonkawa to get the opportunity to have here at Cali. So you talk about 5 years of high school, 4 years of college playing. 11 years as an assistant, going from, you know, Sterling, Kansas Wesleyan, Indy, Cali, and then finally getting an opportunity as a head coach, and another 8 years, and then 5 years here. So I'm very appreciative of the process, and I know a lot of people don't understand that. If they were to meet me, I feel like, you know, I don't like sharing that part of it. But I have come to appreciate it, because I used to be embarrassed of the story. Now I embrace the story because I think it can, help motivate some other guys.
I really appreciate you sharing that with us, Coach. And I know Coach Burroughs and myself have been fortunate enough to watch your growth, when you were coming here first off as an assistant coach and then going off to NOC and having the success you did and coming back to Cali. So, Coach, I know you have some questions you'd like to ask Coach
Yeah, it's
Jackson.
really a neat story. And the thing I took out of it, that's right there, it's about the grind, right? And you just had enough fortitude and enough courage. You just kept grinding, and look what happened. So that's something you could share with everybody, man. I'm proud of you for even sharing it, because like I said, I could see how you could be subconscious about that, because you didn't grow up easy, but you made the best out of it too. And there's somebody listening today that's going to be able to share this, and I'm excited. I mean, I'm sitting here all welled up proud, man.
I
So
appreciate that, Coach. I remember, Coach, I was fortunate enough, Coach DeSalm got me a Christmas Day story when we were at Kansas Wesleyan, and they interviewed Dale Cushenberry and Ken Darting and Coach DeSalm. And, one of the quotes I remember Coach or Mr. Cushenberry saying was, while Donnie wants to credit us for reaching these certain milestones, if he doesn't have the willpower, it doesn't get done. And that's always kind of stuck with me, because I do think that's true. As your coach, there's a lot of guys you try to motivate or pump up or influence or get to a certain level, and at the end of the day, if they don't do it, you can't make them do it, and they got to want to do it, and that comes a lot of from inside, and just willing yourself to get it done.
Sure. You've mentioned Coach DeSalm's name a few times here. So, Tommy DeSalm, all-time winningest coach here in Cali men's basketball history. Love hearing your relationship of how you first played for Coach DeSalm and then had so many different successful coaching stops, whether it be Sterling, Kansas Wesleyan, Indy, and, of course, Cali for those 8 seasons when you were an assistant. But what was your experience like working with Coach DeSalm, and what did you learn from him most about, that you've taken into your coaching?
Well, didn't always have a daily father figure in my life. And so when I played for Coach, that's how I looked up to him, because he was pretty hard. And I wanted to do everything in my power to please Coach and work really hard for him. So I just looked up to him because, Mick Wilson, who was the guy before Coach DeSalm that signed me at Sterling, he was that way to me too. And then Coach DeSalm kind of added on to that. And just the tough love approach was something I think I needed and craved and desired. And it made me want to be a coach. With Coach Darting, Mick Wilson, Coach Hayes, even at Allen, for giving me a chance, and then Coach DeSalm. But just the approach he brought, and he seemed to really be able to press my buttons to want more out of myself. And so I had told him I wanted to coach under him, and he was all in. And so that first year, like I said, I was kind of more of a student coach, because I was student teaching that next year, and then he kept me on. And for whatever reason, we just clicked. And whatever he asked me to do, I was going to do it. And even to this day, if he needed something from me, I'm still going to do whatever he asks. That's Coach. But he gave me a lot of freedom. He let me run the JV program at Sterling, where, just jumps right in. This is your team. Figure it out. And then he put me in charge of a lot of recruiting. And then each year I was with him, he added more responsibility. And by the time we got here at Cali, I'm doing every study hall. I'm doing all the day-to-day stuff. It was still a learning curve on giving me some freedom in practice and things like that. But basically, I learned how to do everything under him. And 11 years of it, you gain a lot of trust. And so, but when I started having a family, is when I really wanted a chance to be a head coach. And I remember one opportunity is when we left Indy. They had asked if I wanted to be the head coach, but at that time, that would have been 7 years in. I didn't think I was quite ready, because I still felt like my age gap between the players and myself was not where it needed to be, and I wasn't sure I was ready to dictate orders the way you need to and stand firm on your decisions. And sometimes I wonder if I should have took that opportunity and just learned through the fire, but I would have never changed it, because then I would have never been able to be here at Cali and all the relationships built here in the community, like with you guys or the supporters in the program or others on campus. But it was probably about halfway through, I was like, I think I'm ready to be a head coach. And I had interviewed at Garden and interviewed at Allen, actually, and I thought I was going to get the Allen job, and they gave it to Andy Shaw, who's a great personal friend now. But it all led to my opportunity at NOC Tonkawa. But Coach DeSalm's a huge part of that because he gave me all the necessary tools to grow as a young coach. He let me be, he let me do it all. And a lot of former players always talk about that. And I'll bring up Ben Vizzola because he's over at Labette now, and he calls me all the time. He's like, I don't know how you put up with me now that I'm an assistant coach. But he says that's also a reason why I feel like I rely on you so much because I'm learning all the same lessons that you had to learn. And that's just one example of being able to give back to former players that's trying to get into the coaching field.
Sure. Go ahead, Coach.
Giving back is good, but I just want to change gears a little bit. You talked about last year you were conference champions and region champions. When's the last time has that been done? Because the Jayhawk, I mean, in the old days, you had to, if you won the conference, it didn't mean anything. You had to win that tournament. So, some of the recruits that might be listening out here, you might want to, expand on that a little bit because that's an impressive thing to win both. It's because that means you're the best team over the long haul, and you're also the best team the last week of the year.
Well, so I want to piggyback off that. When we went over and played Hutch this year, I saw their region championship banner, and their last one was in 2015.
Wow.
And they won the national title in 17. They were runner-ups in 16. If that doesn't tell you how hard it is to win the Jayhawk Region 6 tournament, I don't know what else you can do to try to prove that to anyone because Hutch is where the national tournament is. And so I just took that. I was like, you don't always think about it, but I'm sitting there, I'm like, holy cow, this is tough.
Yeah.
And then
to do both is
Yeah.
even tougher.
Yes, and that's why Coach DeSalm in his last year here and the special season that they had, that they did the exact same thing, and it being 60 plus years before that had happened before, and Cali has been able to do that twice in the last 5 seasons. I think that's a testament to the culture that's built around here over time amongst all the coaches. Not only just the basketball coaches, but all of sports, including yourself, Coach, the leadership in charge of wanting to see Cali athletics be successful. And who knows when the next one's going to happen? You gotta grind every year.
Oh yeah.
So that means a lot to me that we were able to do both because when I left NOC Tonkawa, the athletic director over there, he did not sign off on any guys to transfer over, and usually that's a quick jump start to your program to have guys that have already played for you. And so basically having to start from scratch and it taking several years to build up to that point. And people see, oh, hey, you did this, and this at NOC Tonkawa. Well, there's a lot of failures along the way over those 8 years. It took 8 years to win a region title down there, and it took a couple shortcomings in the region championship game. And finally we got to that point. And then coming over here, 4 years of build-up to get to that point again. And while it doesn't happen every year, I love the process of trying to get to that point, of all the speed bumps that come along the way and the adversities that you fight and, getting guys to buy in. But that's what made last year so special is that group, that team, we were all committed and bought in with one another. And those seasons, I know me and you have talked about it, Coach, those are the ones you savor because there's nothing guaranteed moving forward because, finding the right guys and the right system and the right this and the right that and some luck along the way, it just made everything so special.
And what makes it even tougher is you got to try to repeat what you did, but now that bullseye's on your backside. Not only the conference champion, the region champs, and you made a good showing at the national tournament. So you got to fight everybody else off. So it makes it even harder. That first time it's not easy, but the second time, man, it's even harder.
And that's what made the run even more special, going back-to-back years and having some shortcomings that third year as far as, we're 2 games short. We won 21 games in league. We're 2 games short. Last year, that would have won the league by 3
absolutely.
games.
Right.
And then Barton won it by 2 games. But having guys like Jeff Wanquo that went through some of the struggles with me to help build the program up in that third year, getting the at-large. But the young guys that he molded and shaped, along with myself and Coach Baez, and moving forward and adding Coach Scurry's leadership, that's what made it so fun. Is those guys that were freshmen under Jeff's watch my third year here with Marcus Ziegler, Avante Nichols, Leslie Owens, and Shamari Hugie, they wanted to try to one-up Jeff. And to this day, that may be one of the more impressive things is we didn't have the high-end talent that we had with Jeff and Corey as far as what they brought to the game. It was the chemistry and the relentless work ethic of those guys and their leadership that molded the guys that we have on this year's team. But they wanted to be able to call Jeff and say, hey, we one-upped you, man. And they did it in every category, and I give them a lot of credit. We finished second in regular season. That group the following year finished first. We went to the semifinals with Jeff that postseason. We won it with those guys. And then even at Nationals, we went to the Sweet 16. They went to the Elite Eight. So literally everything they did was just one-upping that previous year's team. And that, to me, is some serious motivation.
That's a neat story all by itself right there. That's eternal. It's hard to coach that.
Yes.
They got to have that when they come in here, and you just did something to bring it out of them.
Yeah.
That stuff, I can't speak enough on that group of sophomores last year.
Yeah, a pretty special group, wasn't it, Coach? And, I got to ask you this, too. There's been so many people, like the gentleman next to myself here, that have been at Cali and set an extremely high bar for Cali athletics as a whole. I mean, we've had so many tremendous coaches and athletes that have been through here. There's an expectation of winning at Cali. And, you had things rolling at NOC. Like you say, you worked to get yourself to where you got your program where you want it. What was it about the opportunity to return to Cali that made you want to come back here and take on this challenge? And like you say, you had to go through building your program the way you want to get it to where you've got it now. But why did you want to take that challenge on after you had things going as well as you did at NOC?
Well, one, I definitely enjoyed my time at Cali, learning under coaches like Coach Dave over here and others. And Coach Assam, you've brought up the fact he's all-time winningest coach here, and I was blessed enough to be his assistant for 11 years and be a part of 91 wins here at Cali. But it's also the community, the relationships built over time. And, Jackson grew up here. My daughter was born here, and it just felt like it was coming home. And honestly, I had interviewed at some places during that transition, and not to say I would have got the job or this or that, but when Shane Larson called me and said, hey, it's yours to turn down, I mean, it was almost like a dream come true, like, oh, wow, this is becoming more real. And there's some other things that I could talk about that are factors that made it, more appealing or this or that than other places. But at the end of the day, I've always felt that Arc City's just kind of been a seamless fit for me. And I love going out and seeing people see me as an assistant, now as a head coach. But I want to pay homage to what you said, the Steve X, the Tommy DeSoms, the Randy Smithsons, the Mark Nelsons, the Jerry Mullins, amongst others. I mean, there's too many to name. Those guys, when you think of Cali basketball and you hear those names, those are some pretty big names.
For sure.
And I wanted that part of that challenge, and to see if I could, feel like I belong. And I'm not going to lie, I definitely felt a little inadequate my first 2 years when we're just hovering around 500. And but that's the drive, is like, I want to be able to say that I can fit in with those names. I'll never be able to exceed those guys, but I want to be able to say that I at least belong in some capacity. And also being a Kansas kid and the old Jayhawk, where in-state kids kind of had a big part of Jayhawk success. And, I wanted to be able to say, hey, I'm a Kansas kid. I got a coach as a head coach at one of the premier junior colleges in Kansas. And I want to prove that I can belong in that aspect too, because, I mean, being a Highland Park kid, not a lot of kids go on and do much. As a Highland Park graduate, they're stuck in Topeka and this and that, and I got a chance to get out.
Yeah.
And I want to prove that I could be a head coach in this conference. And, we still have a lot of work to do to get better for our season right now, but I'll tell you right now, nothing means more to me than being a head coach as a Kansas kid and doing it here at Cali.
You touched a little bit on your family. So you got a couple kids. Tell us about your family life. And, I know that keeps you very busy. I'm fortunate enough to get to call Arc City basketball games with you, get to see your son Jackson and Athlete of the Week this week, coming off of a great week, leading the Bulldogs in scoring and 3 wins over the last week. But tell us a little bit about your kids and your family life then.
Well, basketball's a grind, and unfortunately, got divorced. And we have a unique situation with our family. My ex-wife and I actually get along even better now that we're divorced.
Yeah.
But my daughter lives with her in Andover, and Jackson lives with me. And some people are like, "Wow, that's a pretty unique situation." And there's some juggling to be done as a single dad. Making sure I'm there for his events, also doing my absolute best for my job here, making sure I travel to go see my daughter when she has her events, and it's not easy, but it's well worth it. And I'm going to be traveling to Salina tonight to go cheer on the Bulldogs and Jackson, and super proud of the Athlete of the Week. He's worked really hard, and hope the Bulldogs keep going. A lot of those young kids are starting to come and work out with me on a more consistent basis too, and I feel like I'm able to give back to the community that way through player development. But I wouldn't change any of it, and I would find it hard pressed. If there's anything I'd probably pat myself on the back about, and I don't do that very often at all, is I am there for my kids, and I'm not going to use my job or college basketball as an excuse not to get that job done. And I'm still going to take all the pride I have in being the Cowley College head men's basketball coach and do that to my absolute best of my abilities too. And so while it's tough to juggle at times, like I said, I wouldn't change any of it because I don't want to miss games. I want to be there and support. And Jackson doesn't miss our games, at least very often. Now he's got a girlfriend, so he might miss one here or there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it's easy. But some of the things that's came along with it is being able to coach for the Wichita Padres organization. I'm excited about being able to recruit in-state 27s. Because I feel like I know all of them like the back of my hand. So that's been pretty cool to be able to connect with a lot of people in the Wichita area. And next year, I'm really excited about that in-state crop of kids. And I'm excited to help coach the Padres again this summer. And it's also helped me in recruiting on a national scene. We traveled to Fort Worth and Dallas and Chicago and Kansas City and so on and so forth. So seeing kids from all different areas. So I'm really thankful for that opportunity as well, but also being able to spend time with my son, not coach him, coach the second team, but watch him. Also be able to recruit for Cali, be able to watch and support him and see him grow and build relationships with in-state kids.
Wonderful.
And what a better way to do it than being a single dad, a college coach, an AAU coach, and just a father watching from the sidelines. So building it in all the different aspects. And it is a commitment, but there's some sleepless nights, and that's okay.
So many colors.
That's
yes.
right.
I do have a question, though. You mentioned the old Jayhawk there kind of in passing. Tell me the difference between the Jayhawk Conference 15 years ago or even when you played to today's Jayhawk.
Well, when I played, we had 6 out-of-staters, and that means you have at least 9 in-state slots. I know some schools would bring in 9 out-of-staters to get to their 6, and that made it more competitive for the out-of-state guys for spots because, 3 of you are going to get redshirted or cut. But what it did was, guys like myself, it opened up opportunities for me. I never even played high school ball, but yet they needed to fill the roster with in-state kids. So I think about the new Jayhawk, and would I personally have gotten the same opportunity? Would I even be in the situation I'm in where I'm meeting Coach DeSalm and being able to chance to be his assistant? I don't know. Probably not. But that made it extremely challenging that you had to put in a lot of work. Those Tuesday, Fridays, you may go to a game and there might be 11 Jayhawk schools seeing the same kid that you're there to see. And you might have to go to 10 games just to get a visit, and that may not even guarantee a commitment. And so that's where I think a lot of the work ethic I have comes from is in those days, Coffeyville's going to be out. Hutch is going to be out. Butler's going to be out. Every school's going to be out, and you have to be out too. And then you still have to prepare the team to try to help win. That's why I appreciate Coach DeSalm going back, giving me that opportunity to go out on the road And, I think that helped me get the Marcus Zieglers and the Chase Robinsons, because Coach Auer, when I was a young assistant, that was the head coach at Heights. He's the head coach. There's already a previous relationship. And coming back and being able to recruit those guys in the relationships I built when I was an assistant here at Cali, and it paying dividends as a head coach now. And Wichita needs to be a pipeline for us. But I like the Jayhawk, because it went to all out-of-staters where you could have all out-of-state guys.
Right.
And I don't like that part of it, because I know when I first got here, that was the word when I came from Oklahoma is, oh, you got to have all these out-of-state guys and this and that. My first 2 years, we didn't have very many in-staters, and I was absolutely miserable. And the reason being is, I feel like the best players we've had have been from Kansas or Oklahoma. It doesn't mean they're the highest scoring guy, but they were the culture guys or the glue guys or this or that. And my success at Tonkawa was predicated on having in-state kids down there with Oklahoma kids. And Coach DeSalm's teams were the same way up here. It's predicated on Oklahoma and Kansas kids. And so and Coach Eric and I over at Butler talk about that all the time. His best players have been Midwest kids. And so you don't have to have all these guys far away to have a lot of success.
And they were making noise back in the old days, too, with 60 out-of-staters. National titles were won and,
Yes.
and finishing high. So
And Marcus Ziegler is an in-state point guard,
Right,
and to have
Wichita.
58 wins in 2 years, that says a lot about the power of having a good in-state point guard. And I got to give Steve Eck an assist on that. I remember him reaching out to me about
Yeah.
Marcus Ziegler and putting in a word for us. And so I got to make sure I give an assist to him for leading me in the right direction in that aspect.
it goes back to that makeup over matchup theory.
Yes.
And if your makeup's really good, sometimes it's better than matchup, because those guys play as one and not, you got one heartbeat, you got one goal, you got one person playing, 5 guys playing like one. And that goes a long way.
And Kansas kids know the history of the Jayhawk. I mean,
Absolutely.
shoot, Marcus's dad played at Independence before he went to K-State, and there's some history there. But that's a lot of Kansas kids. Their parents played in the Jayhawk Conference. There's a lot of pride, and so that's why I like that they're going to the 25% rule of your roster to have in-state kids.
Okay, something for some of your players that might not know about you. I don't know about you. What's some of your interests music-wise, TV-wise? If you're home, have nothing going on, you're going to put on something on the TV. What's a show you like to put on? What do you do in your downtime?
Well, I listen to all music. It used to just be rap in high school. Now I listen to country and alternative and rock. I'm definitely more of the 80s, 90s now. But I feel old saying that. But I listen to everything. I love newer country now. And a lot of people would have never believed that when I was growing up, coming from Highland Park.
Yep.
But
Being
now
in the rap music
yeah.
and everything, sure.
Now I'm just very versatile. Then shows I like to watch. I don't really watch a lot of TV during season.
I can
watch
imagine.
a lot of film
Yeah.
or put in time elsewhere. And I will say an interesting fact. Tiger great Tyrus McGee, first team All-American,
Of
Iowa
course.
State, Big
Yeah,
12
sixth
Sixth Man of the Year.
Heck yeah.
Every blue moon, I'll hop on the Xbox and play Call of Duty with him.
Great.
And we catch up, and it's so fun to be able to say that,
Yeah.
I'm 46 years old, and he's 35, 36 years old. We can keep a relationship strong playing a video game together here and there.
Love
so
that.
every blue moon I'll do that. But really, I'll rewatch old shows like Breaking Bad or Prison Break.
Oh, yeah.
I need to get into some new shows, but really I like rewatching those.
I just did the same. I just rewatched Breaking Bad again a couple months ago, the whole way through. I know.
Jesse Pinkman's story.
Love it.
It's great.
The captain.
But I'm probably pretty boring. I like to collect sports cards.
Yeah.
So me and Jackson spend some time doing that and opening up packs. And,
That's great.
but really, I'm pretty basic.
Well, I got to tell you, Coach. I mean, this tells you and just like you when you were in the game. I mean, it's always when you're a coach, you're always in coach mode. Yeah, play Saturday. The Tigers got a big win on Saturday against Independence. I texted him a couple hours after the game, tell him congratulations, enjoy this one. He said, I'm already watching tape. It was already on to the next one,
Yeah.
already on to the next game.
That
So
game's behind you. You can't get it back one way or the other. So
well,
you got
that's
to
what
keep
makes
moving.
a successful coach, though, is that one, we got it. We did what we needed to. Now let's start working to get the next one. So.
Yeah.
And-
Any little edge you can find, because winning's never guaranteed, and so whatever little detail you try to find on film to correct your own team, or when you're getting ready to play an opponent, could be the difference between winning and losing.
Don't want to put you on the spot too much here, but this year's team, I mean, you've got a lot of new faces, a lot of new guys that are trying to mold together with some of the returners. They're just one game out of first in the conference, coming off of a big win against Independence. What's kind of the outlook for the rest of this season, just game by game? I know each game in the conference is it's murderer's row all the way through. So Seward County tomorrow here at W. Scott, hope to have a big crowd, have the students back. But what's kind of your outlook with this year's team? What's the goal to be successful at the end?
Well, the goal to be successful with this team is them learning how to practice consistently every day. The last 2 years, we've had bought-in groups, and they would really get after it in practice. But we had good carryover with sophomore leadership. This year, practices haven't been the easiest to get through as far as getting better. But the practice before Independence was our best practice of the year, and it kind of carried over into the game. But if I could get this young team to learn that details do matter, we can make a run. Or we could be inconsistent like we have been, and it's just a struggle each game. So the outlook is day to day right now. While I do think there's been some humbling moments here the last 2 weeks, I'm hopeful that those moments of adversity will help us grow. And I do think the guys have been a little more locked in here this last few days. But can we carry that over is the biggest challenge. And especially with the league this year, I mean, you got 4 teams at 7-3.
Yeah.
You got 2 teams at 6-4. You got a 5-5 Hutch. You got a 5-6 Barton. That's not even talking about Northwest Tech.
Boy,
they are better than their record shows. So is Cloud, who's 4-6 in league, and they're the hottest team in the league, having won 3 in a row.
On a heater.
and Pratt, they could beat anyone, but they haven't yet, and that's scary because they were just up 20 on Coffeyville at home and lose in overtime. Everyone's good.
yeah.
Even more reason to value practice, right? Because
Yes.
practice is where you make your jumps from a team standpoint and individual standpoint. It doesn't happen on game night, and that's what's hard with young guys, to get them to understand it. Value practice, and the games will come easy. Don't value practice, and the games will be hard, and I'll be cranky, and I'll be hard to get along with. And I know that's probably been the case a time or two, but I like your team. You're doing a good job, and you are the leader. Those guys will look to you, though. There's no question about that. So just press on, bro.
100%. And I do want to say, losing C.J. Majors, and I appreciate that, Coach, losing C.J. Majors has been a bigger blow. Not that I didn't think it was a big blow anyway, but his energy and leadership in game and in practice and all the extra time he put in, we haven't had anyone step into that role yet. And I'm hopeful that some guys are.
Yeah.
After the Independence game, there were some signs of some stuff. But that one right there, with us only having 2 sophomores and now 9 freshmen, and CJ could be back by the end of the year, but that's been a big blow because he was our daily grind guy, and others followed his lead. And so we need somebody to step into that role if we want to make any kind of run in the Jayhawk. We need somebody that says, I want the energy role.
Sure.
And that's what he bought into as a freshman, and that was his role this year. And he was taking some big steps for us, and so hopefully someone else will step into that.
Coach Donnie Jackson, been our guest today. And Coach, we really appreciate you not just joining us, but being an open book, being as open as you were with sharing all of your life stories. And it's been great to hear these from you. And like Coach said, there's going to be some people out there that hear that are going to hear your message and realize, hey, I'm kind of in that same position maybe now as a young man, and realize that I can get my way out of this. And there's hope for a brighter future.
Maybe that's where I need to go, is Cali County, to have somebody that's been through the same process that I've been through.
That's
And
right.
I love Cali. I'm a Tiger all the way through. I bleed orange, and I'm proud to be here.
Well, and I will say I was a single parent for 9 years. I know that challenge, and I have a lot of admiration for you as a single father doing what you do, seeing you, as busy as you are as a head coach, still taking the time to be there at your kids' events, seeing this man here, the way he was when he coached that whole time, with his kids around the program all the time too. It's just a wonderful thing to see, you guys the way you were as parents. I value that a lot because, like I said, we've all been there. We're all parents and we all have jobs to do, and it can be very time consuming, but appreciate, you guys being the dads, because there's a lot of kids that don't have that kind of role
So
model.
busy that you got to take your kids to work.
Exactly,
and
for
that's
sure.
how you have to do it if you want to see your
Thank
kids.
you for that. Yeah, thank you, Rama.
Well,
But that's why I like, man, some of Coach Dave's stories over time I cherish, because there's a lot of lessons I've learned through Coach Dave and all our phone conversations we've had, or talks in the training room or in the gym, or over at APCO East or wherever. But I take a lot of Coach Dave's wisdom, and I definitely try to apply that to my life. He's been very good to me. You've been very good to me. And I'm appreciative just of the relationships we've built over time.
well, we're very fortunate to have you here at Cowley College. You just continue to do great things, and we're excited to see where this team's going to go the rest of the year, Coach.
No pressure, man, but you need to win another region title.
No pressure.
As I said, none at all. But, hey, we appreciate everybody out there. Once again, episode 3 of the Behind the Stripes podcast. Appreciate Coach Dave Burroughs once again being here, along with myself, Kris Ripley, doing all the behind-the-scenes work to bring you the podcast. Coach Jackson, thank you so much once again. And come out tomorrow night. Support your Cali Tigers when they take on Seward County. Ladies will play at 5:30 and men at 7:30. And then got another big one next weekend on Sunday against Dodge City. You got homecoming games coming up. Got Hall of Fame night. There'll be a lot of fun games to come out to. So come out. Got an exciting basketball team to watch. And thanks again for catching today's podcast. We'll see you again next Tuesday.
Go Tigers.
Thanks, guys.